to address.
I sent meeting minutes later yesterday afternoon, so I didn't know if you had time to
I did
read
not.
them. Okay, fine, so we'll hold off on the minutes. I
Yeah.
didn't put them on the agenda, so we'll wait till next week. 'Cause
For-
I'll have
I was gonna say the other
I'll have
two-
the one for Friday.
The other two might have had
too, so-
them.
You're talking about for last Wednesday?
The ninth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
correct.
okay, I reviewed them.
I did.
Okay.
Did you want? Nancy has.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
So, oh.
I'm fine. If these guys don't come up with anything,
All right,
I'll
so-
just read them and be okay.
All right, we'll include that on the minutes then.
I did not find anything,
All right, great, so,
I had one thing.
oh, all right.
so we should do that publicly.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, we'll do that.
gloss over
When
it
we're
real
in
quickly.
session.
Yes,
Sure.
which, we got 2 minutes.
That was April 9th.
Thank you for the water customer list, Jennifer. I got that, so now I can start bouncing those names against
Yeah.
my established
Yeah.
Excel list that works for Minuteman Press.
Right,
So,
yeah.
shouldn't be too many changes.
Yeah, plus I have the Excel, that's what I used for the, the owners list I got from Madison. That's how I did my review and updates. Although there wasn't, except for one, which is the same guy that hasn't paid, Ramos. So there's a jump, we'll have to talk about this at some point, you let me know when you wanna talk about it. But I do have an updated Excel. Just currently it includes people that don't have homes on it or not hooked up to the system.
Okay, yeah, I just need
So-
water system, and
Yeah,
I know you were able to give me an Excel with that, but that doesn't match the way they can make mailing lists out of it.
Well,
So
it-
that's why I created,
Paychex doesn't offer that
Right.
feature.
right, you mean QuickBooks, right?
Quick,
No problem, there's no problem, because what you gave me, Doug converted, and then
Okay.
I further, okay,
yeah, right.
yeah.
All set, Carol? So today is file a tax extension day.
Yeah, I know. Or do your taxes.
April 15th, everybody's favorite day of the year.
So good morning and welcome to the Tuesday, April 15th, 2025 Otherwise Board of Commissioners meeting. The first thing we do is the approval of the agenda, and we have a non-public session at the end of these
Sure.
agendas, so
Yes.
there'll be a non-public session at the end. Anything else that you'd like to add to the agenda or take off the agenda? All in favor of the agenda with a non-public session at the end?
Aye.
Aye.
So we'll try to end the meeting and get you on the road. And first thing we have is the approval of the minutes, and we have the April
Ninth.
9th minutes. And I just had one thing. Under my report, the second sentence is, these projects for work done in Youngstown would have gone. I would just strike that thing because it's
Okay.
actually 7 roads and it's not necessary, so rather than change this, we'll just strike that whole
Yeah,
sentence.
because prior to that I said something about two projects, so I was.
Yeah, the first sentence says,
Yeah.
two projects, we're now working on Homeland Security.
Yeah,
These are projects, work done for Youngfrau and Winnegon,
right,
and 5 other roads, and
okay,
so
so,
it's
okay.
not just those 2 roads.
So just take
Strike
out
the
that
whole
sentence,
yes.
okay.
And with that, I'll make a motion that we approve these minutes.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0 on approving April 9th. Then we move on to a whopping manifest for operations and payroll of $14,715.65. I make a motion to discuss and approve this manifest.
Second.
Discussion. We're paying heating bills for general government and the water system. We bought some high-performance cold mix from Burke Quarry, and I've seen the DPW did a good job of filling potholes. I wish you could go and do the one that's on the exit of Hannaford Supermarket coming onto Route 16. Heading south. If you have a chance, swing up there.
Yeah.
We're paying the Conway Sun for posting that the roads
Weight limit, yep,
have a weight limit on them.
yep.
We're paying electric bills,
Mhm.
and the water system is reimbursing the operating budget for their payment of the water system, heating, electrical use. Sand and gravel. I'd like to talk about that invoice, and I don't know if you have even seen the invoice, but
I have not.
let's see.
We had one a while ago.
Yeah, the $5,000 one,
Yeah.
yeah, they still haven't cashed that check.
Huh.
Which I just noticed that yesterday, which is weird.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I know. Anyway.
Thank you.
Geez, do I even see, here it is, High Street. So on the invoice for $2,767, they have, the first item is six loads of screens sand delivered between February 21st and February 26th. And each load is $275. So the sand cost us $1,650. And then the second item is quantity 4. And this is triaxle loads of 3/4 inch stone and 2 loads of 3/4 inch gravel. And it has a price per unit of $130, $520. Then the next item is quantity 4, 3/4 inch stone and 2 loads of 3/4 inch gravel. So I'm assuming that there's a transportation charge because it lists out the the triaxle.
Mm-hmm.
It is $130 a trip, I guess, times 4 to get us to $520 for the triaxle. And then the loads themselves are at $149.25 per load, truckload. They don't have a scale, and they don't put it in cubic yards. So, is that the way you read it? Is that the
You
second?
know, I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. I'm wondering if it's kind of a typo here or something that I'd have to ask. I don't know, because you got the 2 loads of the 3/4 inch stone, you get the 2 loads of 3/4 gravel, and you're getting 2 different prices. So I mean, again, Hill, I really haven't seen many bills from them. I mean, to me, I would do 2 triaxle loads of 3/4 inch stone, and I'd price it out what the stone was, and then I'd price it out. You know, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like they
that's-
did it twice.
I know.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
I
And
get
2
you.
different prices, so I'm not sure how that is, how this is supposed to, if this is a mistake. I mean, I think I'd have to make a phone call and kind of get clarification
Yeah,
on this.
we need clarification on the bill.
You know what I mean? I don't know how to read it. If there's a trucking fee, okay, I get that, you know what I mean? But I don't see how that's marked in here.
So, do you want to hold this check, approve it and hold the check, or subtract this dollar amount from the manifest and approve it when he gets an answer?
I think we should hold it and get clarification. Do we normally purchase stuff from High Street Sand? Are they a
Yes.
new vendor? Okay. So,
we purchased sand, I'm not sure we purchased 3/4 inch gravel from,
We've gotten gravel and stone from them in the past, yes.
but that's not the only, we get it from Coleman also.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct.
that's right.
It looks like, okay. So I just, like I said, looking at, it's, they list the products twice
Right, I know.
with two different prices. Now, I would assume
A
the
different
stone
day.
is a different price than the gravel, so
Right.
that way I could understand, but again, they're in the same line, the same two products listed two different prices. So that kind of says to me,
Let me see.
I'm not sure what each one cost and what the trucking fee.
So we
I
want-
would assume the trucking fee is the same either way.
Yeah, one of the
Yeah.
line items is mixing, right? Triaxle trucking, 2
Sand.
loads of 3/4 stone and 2 loads of 3/4 inch gravel on 317, but then they have another 2 loads of 3/4 inch stone
Axle trucking. So it's including the
and 2 loads
the
of 3/4.
trucking
Okay, we-
fee.
Yeah,
He's gotta
okay.
check on this.
Right,
so-
it's confusing.
It's gotta be.
So should we print a check and then hold it, or take it
It's
off the
already
manifest?
printed.
It's already printed, so let's just hold and get clarification on what
Can
this
I
bill
hold on to
means.
that one?
Yeah,
talk to
sure
him,
you can.
please? Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Hold.
Let's see. We bought a trip edge we bought a rubber edged, for the plow blades from McLean.
Yep.
But did we also buy a steel?
About a couple of, no, a steel edge?
No,
Yes, we did.
because I saw the rubber one, and then I saw what I thought was another one didn't spell out that it was a steel one.
Yes, there was another, yeah, because we needed a new cover plate. The steel was toast.
Then I thought we were paying, with that, I thought we were paying like over $100 for a nut, but it was the nuts that came with the steel edge, I think.
Yeah, we needed the bolts and everything.
It's hard to read these.
Mm-hmm.
Some companies give you good invoices, and some of them,
I know.
they might as
Yeah.
well be in Greek. And then I saw a whopping charge, maybe you can handle this one, Jennifer, maybe not. We're paying, a processing fee for ADP for payroll is $81.82.
Yep, but that was the combined
That's what I
payroll
need
for
to
8
ask,
people.
because I seem to remember that we were paying like 40 something,
Yeah,
but
but,
this is 2, that's why I asked.
yeah, 40 something and
Except
then,
for the
yeah.
payroll periods that the commissioners and Diana get paid on, right?
Yeah.
This is just the
ADP,
employees.
yeah.
Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we approve this manifest and hold that one check. I guess I already made that motion. All in favor of this manifest, holding that one check, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
3-0 on this manifest. Then we move to the water manifest, water system manifest, with one item for $1835.71. And the one item that this is paying is it's reimbursing the operating account for its portion of the.
No, you haven't gotten that breakdown yet. This is a direct payment for the pump houses to Eversource.
So,
This is how we've done them.
Uh-huh.
so in the operations manifest.
Right.
The operating budget is paying for certain
Yes,
bills for the water system.
correct.
Why doesn't the water system pay all its own bills?
Because you don't want to split up bills with different amounts.
Like the DPW and the
That's-
building.
That's it.
So
right
when
there.
it's
It's all
a
in one.
non-split payment,
Correct.
we pay directly out of this
The
budget.
pump houses
When
will
it's
always
split
be
between
paid
the
for
operating,
water.
excuse me.
Yeah.
When we're splitting between the operating budget and the water system, it gets paid out of the operating budget. And the
Yes.
water system reimburses.
Correct.
Okay. So if I haven't made a motion, did I make a motion on this? Make a motion
No.
that we approve this water manifest for $1,835.71?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0 on that. Thank you. DPW report, and it starts with the weight band on the roads. How are the roads doing?
The roads are good. I was gonna pull that this afternoon.
Okay, great.
Madison pulled theirs yesterday, Conway pulled theirs yesterday. I believe Tamworth's pulling his tomorrow. So you know, we're in pretty good shape here, and hopefully Saturday was the end of it.
We can hope.
Well, never mind what the other communities do, or what's your criteria for pulling it?
Well,
wondering.
how dry they are, how firm they are. I mean, obviously the edging of the roads, the shoulders are gonna be soft. They can be soft till July. You know, but the main roads are in good shape, so.
Okay.
I mean, barring the limited gravel that's on them, you know.
And you're starting to grade them.
Yes, we're starting to grade them. We're hoping to do a light grade on Idlewise Drive tomorrow. We're trying to get the old roll in shape and gonna strip the grader down today. And yeah, try to do something on that.
Tell Madison to pick up where Idlewise leaves off on
Well,
Idlewise Drive.
they're gonna do it
Oh,
tomorrow
man.
as well, so that's what we thought that, you know, it'd be a
Good
good
timing.
idea to kind
Yeah.
of get the whole thing at once, so, you know, cause there are people that drive that end and have stuff to say, and people that drive our end have stuff, you know what I mean? So it's all smooth, and hopefully nobody has anything bad to say. But we all know how that goes. So yeah,
I have a couple of things that
go ahead.
you want me to do? Go ahead.
Sure.
I took a look at Grissom this morning.
Yeah, we did as well. That's something I was gonna talk about.
It's coming out of the upper pipe again.
Yeah, that she's rose up.
But the water level isn't threatening the road yet.
No.
So it's becoming clearer to me that the road is threatened when the water's coming in both directions. Down the brook, it seems to be able to handle it. But when it comes, the rain falls everywhere. When it's raining, it comes down Grissom Road itself. I think that's the key for the road to get threatened and damaged. Any idea, well, are you waiting for the road to defrost more to dig the swale, or how are you looking at this?
Well, the more we keep looking at that and talking about it, we'd like to meet out there again
Okay,
and have another conversation about this, if that would work. I don't know if you all wanna meet out there, or, you know, I know we met one time, you know, but the sooner the better. I know Wood is on a tight schedule here and with what he's got going on, but I think meeting out there again and talking a few things over would be beneficial
Okay.
for us all.
sooner the better then, huh?
Yeah, cause then we could come up with another plan and a more formative idea here.
So, what you're saying is water coming down from, which body of brook is that? Is there a name on that one?
They call everything the Banfield Brook because it all ends up going across Route 113 in the same place.
Okay,
Yep.
all right,
You've pointed out that the canal from Big P to Middle P is called the Banfield
It
Brook.
is, yeah.
This is also a tributary,
okay.
so I guess it's all Banfield Brook.
So the brook runs constantly, year round.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes.
And what Mark, I believe, is saying with the runoffs and everything, it all gets into that brook, and the brook runs heavier, obviously, this time of year. So now add the rain to it, the rain brings in from all other parts, Jungfrau, you know, Upper Aspen there, and it all kind of comes down and comes to that point as well. So that just adds to the brook. And then if you see it now, it looks like a mini pond over there. And as that pond rises, that's when it starts threatening the road. And that's when it's gonna start to come over the road.
Right, but last week the plan was to build the swale on the side toward Route 113
Which is still the plan.
plan. But now I think what you're saying is because if you're coming down from Aspen, you're on a downhill, you're going down Grissom toward the rupture there, the break. And that's creating problems too on heavy
No.
rain? No?
No, it looks to me like the overflow pipe can handle the brook rising, but it can't handle when it's raining hard. We're getting more than 4 inches of rain. The water's coming heavier from other places besides the brook.
Right.
That's when it can't handle it.
Okay.
Because again, that's the
So now
downhill.
I talked myself into
Yeah.
thinking we don't have a problem until we have a 4-inch rain, because the sooner we get this thing done, the sooner I can stop driving over there to see what it looks like.
Right.
Well, we're gonna be recessing for 9:30 tomorrow morning, right? For the non-public session?
No, we're meeting at 9:30.
Right, well, we'll be
Recessing
recessing
this
today for
Yes.
tomorrow morning.
Yes.
Do we wanna,
Before or after that?
before or after that?
What do you prefer, before or after? He's up at 5.
Yeah, but
Functioning
Yeah,
by
Yeah,
7?
I was gonna say, being awake and being functional
Yeah.
are two different
two
things in the
different
morning.
things, yes, and what I do at
At
5
least for me.
What I do at 5 in the morning is not inspecting
You don't wanna
roads,
be
I
out there
assure
in your
you.
row with a cup of coffee?
No, no, I do not. No, I do not. So what are you suggesting? We meet at the 9:30 at the,
At Grissom?
I'll tell you what, I'm the one who pushed it back to 9:30. Why don't I'll be the flexible one here. If you want to meet at Grissom at 9, then we can come back and continue the meeting with what we planned, somewhere in that 9:30 to 9:45 timeframe, knowing that 11 o'clock is my drop dead.
Time, yep.
I'm okay with that.
Do you wanna?
So we're meeting at 9?
9 on Grissom. Which side of Grissom? Which side of the break?
The 113.
113
13th side, okay.
That would be great.
So we're gonna recess this meeting until tomorrow
Okay.
at 9.
At the Grissom Culvert
Mhm.
with Jeff.
Have you seen the Muddy Beach Pump House?
I saw something sticking out of the side of it, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Out of
so,
the front of it.
right.
Is that gonna be your fill pipe? Is fill?
Yep, it's your new
Okay.
fill place.
That's
It's got a
awesome.
2-inch hose that's pumping water out right now as he's emptying the tank, I believe. I was talking about this with Jennifer this morning. My understanding was that he's gonna test the pumps. Did you catch whether he's actually testing for the uranium after he clears the tank?
I think after
Okay, so
he's done
there's
the flushing.
two results of that. He'll have information for Nick to have on what the pumps are currently doing as
Mhm.
far as their performance, how much
Yep.
they pump. And he'll have readings, he might have some information as to whether the wells can sustain nonstop pumping.
Mhm.
So he's testing what the wells are doing, is not just the pumps. And the third thing is the uranium, as the tank is actually clear from sitting there with water
Right,
in it that
we
hasn't
know
moved
has
since
very high.
November.
Yeah,
Okay. And he did set it up so you guys can hook a 2-inch fire hose to it and fill your
Yeah,
tank trucks.
that's awesome. Yeah, when I see Noah or Ian, I'll coordinate with them, go over there, they could show me how to set it all up or whatever.
Right at the door, he's got new ball valves, and it's a matter of turning the pump on
Perfect.
and not sending any water into the system.
Yeah, he shows me how to
I think
get
he's-
it going.
So when Granite State did their quarter 1 check for uranium at Muddy Beach, were they just drawing upon the tank, the sitting water there, versus pump
I
run?
think he said that he ran the pump for him,
You
He
ran the
did.
pump,
the well pump.
okay, so it's
Yeah.
coming from the ground,
Mhm.
okay.
What else do we have? So you're taking the wing plow off and you're grading?
Yeah, we're gonna
Starting to grade
strip the
roads?
grader down completely when I get back, and Tony's hosing her off right now, and, yeah, we're gonna get that stripped down, and like I said, tomorrow morning, after we meet, we'll look to go and grade that up.
So back to the High Street invoice. So we ordered gravel, and I need to know whether that's gonna be reported to FEMA, like where did it go? We need to change the way we're doing things so that we're not going back to try to figure out what happened.
We haven't used any of it yet.
Okay.
It was like for, in case we had some emergency type of fill-ins throughout the mud season here, where that's where the stone went, obviously. And not all of it, we still have some left. So yeah, and that was another question. On Idlewise Drive, the hill up by Gloria's, it was all rock. I mean, we're gonna need a few loads of gravel. We got the big truck stripped down and set up to haul. Am I able to get a few loads? I mean, that could all go towards the FEMA.
Well, maybe it would help, I think that I printed out the project where they spelled out how many cubic yards of gravel going on which roads, that they're already acknowledged that this is what they're reimbursing for. And so I don't know if you have that at your fingertips to look at without needing to get to me to know, to answer that question. So the answer I would say is that he should go ahead and order gravel that he needs for Idolize Drive. And in the meantime, I'll make sure that you have a hard copy of the FEMA
Okay,
project.
Right.
It spells out where they're saying cubic yards of gravel and stone go. And then we need to have a good system where, as you're doing it, it's getting recorded, that we're not trying to go back and remember things.
well, on the invoice itself, I could write FEMA, Idolize Drive, or whatever road it might be going to, and as it goes to the office, it's on there.
So you'd have to have a copy of the invoice.
They hand me a piece, they hand me the invoice, you know, when I go in there, I sign and they give me a sheet. You know, so, and then they mail the sheet as well as the bill.
But you have to have it to write.
But I
on.
have the one in my hand, so I could write right on that,
Does that work?
you know.
I don't,
Right,
I was gonna start doing this.
A lot of times I keep them in the basket and then I bring them up at a later date. I get you a stack of receipts that have already kind of gone through the office electronically. But I can, you know, at the end of the day or the next morning, put those in your hand.
okay,
Spelled out with where it
yeah,
went.
then I can attach it to
And
the
then it could go
actual
into a
invoice,
FEMA
so
folder
it's
or however you
indication.
work it.
Let's start doing that
Yeah.
and see if that
Right.
works and whether we need to refine that system
Right, because
between the
I'm
three of us.
scanning it
Right.
anyway, so I might as well just
Right,
Right.
start saving it in a,
So the answer is, so when you stockpile, now the invoice is there and you haven't done anything with it.
right.
So you're gonna hold it until you actually use it?
Well, see, what I was doing last year was I made a list on, you know, if we stockpiled it and then we started using it, I had a list on, okay, we laid 20 tons of gravel on Grissom Road. We laid 15 tons of gravel on this road, and then I wrote it all down. Now, it didn't really coincide with what we got on the invoices because you're getting eight tons
Yeah,
of gravel
right.
each, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
see.
guess he could go back and grab invoice, you know, I don't know how that would work.
Well, let's see what you do with the stockpile you have.
You know, right, I guess with the stockpiling it, you're gonna have 100 tons of gravel, say you stockpile.
Yeah.
And now we go and start dispersing that out,
right,
you know, that can't add more than the 100 tons you got, you know what I mean? You start spreading it out and you're spreading 10 tons here, 5 tons here, 20 tons there, and all of a sudden, you've spread 150 tons of gravel when you only had 100. Where'd the other 50 come from? You know, I mean, so it'd be documented that way, I guess.
So we're gonna start off with, and here's the problem is that
yeah, the invoice.
High Street doesn't give it to us in tons like Coleman does.
Right.
Because they don't have a scale.
Right,
So we're gonna have to have them tell us, well, we'll have to have a number that a
Equals to
triaxle load,
triaxle.
Right.
our formula of how many tons that is, or we can go right to cubic yards, because that's what FEMA wants it reported as, cubic
Right.
yards, so we'll have to convert all of Coleman stuff, and if we get stuff from Burke, because you like some material that's not just a coal patches.
Right.
So we'll have systems for each source,
Yeah.
and we'll refine how we capture it as it's going down. But we're starting with 6 triaxles of less sand. That's
No,
just
no.
for,
We only have two truckloads of the gravel.
and 2 truckloads of stone,
Right.
which is not FEMA, that's, you're using that to do.
That's potholes.
Yes.
Right. So that's
Okay.
the stone's a different
So
story.
we'll see how we'll learn how good we are at this, the system we developed by what happens to the 2 loads of 3/4 inch gravel.
Because tomorrow, if I'm laying some gravel on Idlewise, I'll probably just go to Coleman's to get it and use what I have. Load up that, you know what I mean? It's probably just easier
With the international,
with the
and
international.
bring it right to the road.
Right.
I gotcha.
Oh, I see,
So we'll have to document when that happens too, because I have to know to say,
Right.
we used our truck
Right,
Versus
well,
invoice.
Right.
right,
Versus delivering.
By the way, the more Jennifer's involved in capturing this stuff, FEMA also pays for her time.
Nice.
3/4 time, so there's another system that's tracking her time,
Uh-huh.
which if she can do that, so much the better. So let's start and see how we do.
yeah, so, again, it's just to cover a few things. The ditching has to really start before we really start laying the gravel.
Correct, you said
This is
that.
just a few
Yeah.
Yep,
gravel we need to kind of cover some areas that aren't
Yeah.
gonna grade very well because the base is
So
showing
low,
through.
yeah.
but if it's part of a project, it's
Right.
not gonna get plowed off the road.
Right, so
Because
it's
we're
still
not-
something that needs to be
I
documented.
think it's not gonna get plowed off the road.
Right, we're hoping.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Okay.
So far.
So other than that, I have that old oil barrel we took out of the shop, we tried to sell at one point. Do we still wanna try to hold on? Do you want me to see if the guys at the DPW here in Madison?
Are they burning oil still to heat their building?
I believe they still do here. I don't know
Yeah.
if they want it for a storage bin, or my next thing is the orange spreader, the old sander is junk that's hanging in the rack, just taking
Yeah.
up that rack space. Can we get it out of here for scrap? There's nothing usable on it. It's ready to collapse. We've gone through it. I know we thought about holding on to it just in case. There's no just in case, I think, on that thing. It's junk.
This is the non-stainless steel sander that was purchased with at the time of the.
Right.
See, the thing with it is, it's hanging in the rack right now,
Yeah.
so we can't hang all
Yeah.
three of our spreaders in the rack. Last couple of years, we've had to sit one on barrels, which isn't the safest thing.
So where do
to
you bring scrap metal like that now?
I believe the place on 41 still open, or Ricker's over there in Tamworth.
I think it would be Rick's. I don't think the one on 41's still open.
Okay. Well, I heard at one point Buzz had bought it or something like that,
Oh.
but,
Oh.
but I don't know for sure. I'd have
Oh,
to
okay.
find out. But either way, what our thought was is to put that in the truck, load that up with the heaviest metals that we have to
Yeah.
get rid of,
Yeah,
and get us.
I'll make a motion that disposes of that steel sander that came with the International.
Second.
Right.
Aye.
And if nobody wanted that oil barrel, I could cut that in half and put that in there. And
So it's just an
whatever.
empty barrel, there's no oil in it?
Right.
Okay. Yeah,
You know,
the quicker
they,
you get rid of it, the
they
better.
drained it. You know,
Yeah.
Madison drained the
Okay.
oil out of it
is
to
it a
use.
tank or is it?
It's like a regular oil barrel that's in your
55
house.
gallon?
Oh.
Yeah, 275, 250, whatever it is.
Oh, the heating tank.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, oil,
And then, like
275
I
is the
s-
standard size.
Right.
Oh, it is like.
Yeah,
a-
whatever else we got out there, we got some cutting blades that we could throw in there, you know, whatever heavy metal we have out there, we'll load in the sander with the truck and haul it off and, like I said, get a invoice or check for you.
And that check is revenue,
Yes.
so that goes into the unassigned fund balance,
Yeah,
right?
okay, so that sounds good. That's,
Generally, that type of revenue will be, it'll show on the form that we do in the fall and is normally listed as offset. Kind of like,
So that automatically goes into reducing taxes,
yeah.
unless we say
Yeah,
otherwise?
unless we specifically say otherwise.
So that really is going to the unassigned fund balance?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right,
but that's all I have.
very good, so we can spring you at 9:30.
9:30 it is.
Nine. Oh, you mean today? I think about tomorrow. I thought-
Spring me today at 9:30, we'll see you at 9 tomorrow.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm not firing on all six
Did you
cylinders
have
these days.
anything?
I'll talk to you about that
Right.
after. I kept it the same, so everything will work that way this
Okay.
week and we'll go
So-
change it.
So hopefully he's gonna, well, okay, I'll talk to you later, thank you.
Okay,
Sorry.
Roads are looking good, Jeff.
thank you. Yeah, I'm happy with the way they look after the winter. That was our 30th event, so Saturday.
Oh, I got one more thing as long as you're here.
Sure.
And just, this is not for discussion right now, just a heads up that since I have a personal connection to the EPOA, that they still want to do the touch a truck, field truck, meet your DPW crew type sometime in the future as
Yeah.
an event, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah, he mentioned it
Yeah.
last meeting too.
Like-
Last year, I think you said a Sunday works, was it Sunday that you thought worked?
Sometimes, yeah, we'll talk with Tony and we'll see what we can come up with and we'll get back to Carrie on that and
Okay,
see what we could do.
that'd be great.
Meanwhile, we're sprucing things up, getting the salt washed off everything and
Yeah.
hopefully don't need to use anymore.
No.
Okay,
All right, talk to you later.
Thank
Have a
you.
good one. So at 9:31, we go to discussion of water issues, and we have response from Nick Skagel about
Yep.
meeting with us, and he just happened to, his first pick was next Tuesday at 9, which I thought made it easy for us. We don't have to find a meeting room and
Right,
and Madison TV's already set to come in to do that, so this will be dedicated just to talk to Nick. And it's a matter of whether you want another meeting on another day that week to discuss our regular business in highway stuff.
The regular scheduled commissioners
We won't
meeting.
follow the regular agenda Tuesday when Nick is here. We'll go right to talking to Nick and first cover the ion filtration solution for Muddy Beach, and then see how many other water issues we can take care of, but that's the priority. If that's the whole meeting, then that's the whole meeting,
Okay,
to get water on the road.
yep,
Yeah, okay, so the challenge now is finding a day for our normal type, like what we're doing right now, but for
Right.
next week.
And that's just by our availability, which
Yeah.
makes it a little easier. And then,
so realistically, the big difference or the big thing that we would need to know is a manifest. So that would be, other than that, I think
Everything
we
else
can-
could wait
I
for
think
the-
everything else can wait a week,
Yeah, that's true.
you know?
that's always the case, unless
Right.
there's an issue that
you've done
can't
it
wait.
before.
Right, you know, so I think we can pretty much,
Knock off the manifest during that meeting,
yeah,
and
Then go right into Nick.
right.
Okay,
if it works for me. No DPW report for next
No, it'll
week.
just be
Right.
manifest and
Right,
that's it,
And,
pretty much.
yeah,
okay,
okay,
All right, great.
that condenses things and makes things easy.
and if something comes up, we can adjust, but right now, we don't have
Yeah.
any reason for a second meeting next week.
right.
Okay.
All right, great.
No scheduled appearance. Administrators report at 9:34. You have a couple of things here.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the new email address from the IT service that we have now for the commissioners and how that's working. I know Wood'a was successful. Did you get your agenda and manifest?
Yes,
Great.
yes, but as with anything, you've seen in the past, I like to bring in my little iPad and I was able to easily access all my emails and everything I
Right.
bring it up, but
Correct.
I have yet to figure out how to do that with this new email, but that's
Right.
okay, don't worry, I'll take care of it, that's on me, I'll get it done.
Yeah,
but
but
the-
she's available to
Right.
help as well. She's
Right.
not,
But
you know.
Nancy had a problem with the Microsoft Authenticator where they wanted money for it. and
Right,
that
so
happened,
that was the next thing.
that happened to me too, so I just
It did.
restarted the process, and I think I picked a different one from the app, because whenever you go into the apps, there's
I
a
know,
lot of very
right.
similar looking apps, and then it was fine, it worked, it was a free app. So there is one out there.
yeah, and I did get an email from,
Mm-hmm.
Andrea yesterday afternoon, saying that she'll be available if I want help. I'm still going back and forth in my brain as to whether or not I want one.
The funny thing is, he set up, prior to this, he set up his own special address just for
Right.
Highways
The
business.
Gmail.
Right.
So you had
Yeah.
already handled it, really.
Right. Yeah, you'd already done
It's
it.
not using your main address that you do other
Right, I
things
use the
with.
Waterworks strictly for nothing but,
So I waste a lot of time, because I don't have a smartphone, I don't want one, I use this, it doesn't run apps.
Right.
So I looked at using a browser authenticator,
Right,
and after I wasted a lot of time with that, I just said, I wasted a lot of time. doing
yeah,
it.
it didn't
Yeah.
seem like it wouldn't take it on a browser.
Yeah, it definitely did not want to go on my computer. It
Right.
wanted to, it kept telling me, you have
yeah,
to do your,
that's terrible.
through your,
Well, I guess we
you
need
know,
to
and
ask
I'm like,
Andrea, is,
Smartphone.
that's gonna
Not
be a
it-
pain.
right.
It is.
Now we're
Most-
wasting more time with this.
most web-based email systems it's a username, it's a password, and some you can get two-factor authentication. It must be a way of
Let's
doing
stop.
that. Okay.
It's not
without-
worth our time.
Yeah, well,
All right.
I wouldn't have the answers,
All right.
so.
All So whatever issues, you can take it up with Andrea, I guess.
Yeah, if,
And do you wanna do it before you
If-
get your
if
new,
you want to.
new laptop rolling anyway?
no,
Right, you're setting this all up just to do it all again?
well, that's why I just
You don't need
stopped
to do it with the new one
yesterday.
either.
I see.
You know?
Speaking of that, should we handle the office licenses now, or?
We can do that now.
So I'm gonna make a motion for discussion is that that we have a policy where the VDOE reimburses commissioners for a license for office while they're a commissioner.
Second,
Nancy needs a license for a new laptop,
Okay,
so I think the village should pay for it, because she probably doesn't need an office license if she wasn't.
this is for Microsoft Office 365?
Right,
Is
she
Yeah.
needs Excel, she needs Word to
Yeah.
do the
right,
commissioner's
we all do,
job.
all the commissioners do,
Yeah,
you know?
I just renewed in February.
So you
Paid
can
my-
get reimbursed for
You can
that.
get reimbursed.
So we can limit it to what I saw as a license for one person, which is $99, I think. That we're not reimbursing for my corporation where I have 400 employees.
Yeah.
All in favor of that motion?
Aye,
Aye,
3-0 on that.
and it will be a reimbursement, so the person will
Pay for it.
pay for it
Yeah.
and
Right.
send you the
We're not-
information
We're
that
not
it's.
using the debit card from the village.
Right,
right,
Somebody
exactly.
has to remember to change it if
Just,
somebody.
just cut a check.
right.
So, do you know offhand what that's coded to?
Just do it under administration.
Okay.
Yeah, the
So-
same account that pays for the office.
Is any of that gonna help with accessing your address, your new email address?
Well,
Yet to be
having
known.
Outlook, having a license for Outlook, which comes with it, does.
Correct.
Right,
So
right, so it might,
it
It
might
might-
resolve that issue.
exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
It's gonna help with it.
Yeah. All right, great.
You have paychecks under administrator's report.
Yeah, but we're gonna reserve that for the non-public.
Okay. So we'll move on to, there's no old business,
Not that I know of.
signature items. Commissioners' reports at 9:40. We talked about, we didn't talk about inventory. We have brand new stuff, and we should have brought it up with Jeff. I think you mentioned to him that we
I
should
did.
get the engraver for, we're gonna start
I did.
engraving.
Yes. we do.
And
yes,
I talked to Jennifer about an inventory system in the office, and that's gonna be getting copies of the invoices. She now files them by vendor, which you guys went over last week.
yes,
But then she's gonna create a separate file of the invoices that are for equipment that are part of the inventory system. Separate file that has it all. Something we wish we had
yes,
last year.
right,
And now he's got the tools that have been purchased, the boxes that are in all the trucks, and the battery charger, and there's gonna be more stuff that comes.
Mm-hmm.
And now's a good time to start this thing. So, we'll work that out with Jeff as next week, but
yeah, and it's good to have it filed together, you know,
Correct.
and separate from the other vendors and stuff. Cause even though some of it
Completely.
might come from Napa,
Yeah, no.
it will still be
Yep, it's part of that separate
part of that
file.
separate file for inventory,
Yep.
and that'll be good. Cause then we'll know what we have.
Yep, and I can talk to Jeff more about it later.
so another thing is I drove by and saw the new fixture coming out of the front of the Muddy Beach pump house with the hose.
Oh, for the DPW?
So I went inside to see how it's all configured, and one of the pumps is running that is taking the water out of the tank and pumping it to waste behind the building. And that pump, because it's on, is dripping water outside the pump. So it has this little leak to it. The little leak that I reported last week,
Mm-hmm.
And bigger.
that no, it's still there, what I'm reporting, is where they put all the new fixtures on, a ball valve, there's a pressure gauge on it. So they did a lot of work near the entrance door where the water leaves the building, and that's where he's pumping it out to waste, and the DPW use. The point is that that's still dripping. While they were doing that, they didn't seem to fix the drip. When the pump is on, now there's another drip, and the humidifier is busy taking, you get it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna write an email to the operator saying, there's 2 of them now.
Okay,
So
He was aware of one of them,
yes,
and I think he said he was gonna address it, but he wanted to leave it for a moment he had some reason for not getting to it right away. I don't recall what that was.
I didn't catch that, but he might.
But he was
Yeah.
aware of that first,
But I'll be on record with him that
okay.
that
And
there's
he-
2 now.
he knows, he has to have seen the pump.
Oh, yeah.
So, will the pump have to be on for, any of the pumps have to be on for the DPW to fill? So they're gonna need access to the building, which they don't currently have. Okay,
And I'm trying not to deal with the locks, taking them off and on too many times.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do it all at once, and in a non-public session, we'll discuss that also.
Okay.
okay,
Doesn't have to be today, but yes, I'm aware that they have to get in there and they'll have their own number.
okay,
Another thing is I am going to tell the cement floor contractor that the road bans have been lifted and
and any time now,
work out access for him also.
Point.
nice.
Right?
Yep.
Nice, and depending on when they're available, you know, either one of us, I think, could meet them there. You know, so if if you're tied up,
Well,
you know,
one of
I
the
can
things
probably
is
meet with them.
once the locks can be set up to give people temporary numbers, take the temporary number away after their contract is over.
Oh, okay,
I think you can hold 12 or more numbers, and
nice.
but I'll work that out. So I think I covered everything while Jeff was here, and that's the only thing I didn't cover was the water stuff.
Mm.
What do you have, Woody?
Okay, I've reached out to Rick at Minuteman Press. I'm just waiting to hear back from him as to an estimate, just a ballpark estimate on the cost of the mailing, since it's going to be 2-sided. I'm glad to hear that we have to May 8th, because it'd be kind of nice to know what, if we're going to do another inside uranium test at Muddy Beach via a water operator. It'd be nice to know what that is relative to what Granite State came up to and why we have to put a public notice out anyway. That's one thing. There was something else there.
I don't know if it's information overload, it makes it more confusing. I think we need to keep this message pretty simple.
Simple, yeah.
So
Yeah.
having tests that say something that looks more positive than what we're understanding right now, I don't see the benefit of that.
And
Okay, well, like I
if
said,
Ian-
I just want, everybody's gonna get to review whatever I write.
We can decide once we
right.
see what the number is,
Right,
but
right.
I don't wanna make it a confusing technical report.
No,
Pretty
no,
simple
no,
what we're
no.
talking about here.
I agree, I agree.
But when Ian's doing a test, he brings it to Granite State Analytical.
Yeah, I think he's
So-
supposed to.
It's through them anyway.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
for them anyway,
They're doing the test.
you know?
Yeah.
But even if Ian does it,
He brings the sample.
he brings the sample to them.
to do
So, either way, the information's coming from Granite State Analytical.
Yes.
Right.
Right, but I guess my train of thought was that, you know, these tests can fluctuate.
Definitely.
And that just because it went above the limit one time, it could be below the limit next time, and anyway. I'm
Which
so-
wouldn't affect our decision.
No, it's
Not
not,
at
it's
all.
not affecting anything we're doing.
That was, I
Right.
should have put that as a question more than a,
Yeah, right.
but it wasn't a question.
All right. Never mind. Like I said, I will put together a first draft, and I'm just getting thoughts together. You know, it's just one of those, mind mapping things I got going, and
I was thinking of sending something out as you're working on the draft to go on the reverse side of the notification that gets mailed, to say that we met. Well, we can talk about that. We met with 3 engineers, or actually 2 hydrogeologists, and a water-specific professional engineer. PE is the acronym that goes on the end of the title. For an hour and a half last week. And they like what our strategy is. They like what we're doing. They like the fact that we've already decided to have Nick do a high-level design, summary design, they said,
Yep.
if I'm using the right words.
Yes.
They like the fact that we voted on things right in front of them because it was a public meeting. So we're gonna put a ion filtration system in Muddy Beach that will cost tens of thousands of dollars. And the longer term plan is we're going to go through what may be a 2-year plus process of getting a design approved and permitted for a second gravel packed municipal well in the DPW1 well field. And that will cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So the short-term plan is to spend tens of thousands of dollars. The long-term plan is to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. In the end, we'll have 2 gravel-packed municipal wells in the aquifer at the DPW1 well field site. And we will have a second backup system at Muddy Beach that we intend to not use because we don't want to produce expensive waste that we have to pay beaucoup dollars to get rid of. So we modified our plan when we realized that we might need a backup system sooner because of the evaluation of the DPW1 A pump.
yes.
That was the key of our knowledge changing from November,
Yes.
is the realization that Muddy Beach DPWA's pump may not go out of its life cycle at a time that we want it to go. So I'll take a stab at putting something out, and
Okay. My second verse, I wasn't going to be nearly as complex as that, I assure you.
right.
So is that an addition with the notification, or you're thinking of a separate mailing or
I'm not doing a mailing. I'll
Okay.
put it out onto,
social media and
Yeah.
the website?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then we'll have a nice draft that goes on the back of the notification that we mail out. And the hydrogeologist and the engineer reaffirmed that the water that comes out of Muddy Beach now with its uranium levels is something the state is not telling us not to use.
Correct.
But they suggested, and we already knew this, is that if we have to use it, because we ran into a worst case situation with the DPWA pump, is that we would notify everybody that we're using it, because we haven't used it since November 26th. And we had a citizen do an independent test on Blendon at a new log cabin there.
Yeah,
That was actually lead.
Just a lead
That
test?
That was a lead
Yeah.
test.
right.
Huh.
I know, it get it
Yeah.
weird ways.
Yeah, I went back through and looked at it again.
Because
and
I never saw uranium in it, but we had a conversation here where I said, maybe I didn't read it right, but
Right.
you read
yeah,
it again.
yeah, I went back through it and it was a lead test.
Yeah, it's the independent,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
That thing that DES allowed
Yeah.
people to.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have. I'm
Yep.
It's an evolving process. In any case, we will meet the deadline of May 8th. Originally, I had May 1st in my mind. Now I got another week, but I'm still going to try and wrap up everything up in the first end of this month, beginning of May.
Okay.
So, just to put it into everybody's brain, it's that time of the year. The snow is mostly gone. I'm happy for that at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of driveway permits that,
Yeah, we need to
we should,
revisit.
that we need to
the
revisit
ones that
and,
just have the,
correct,
yeah,
correct. So I just wanna get that out there that, we're gonna need to get them sent around and
yeah,
get a look at them and, you know, and obviously we won't be doing it next week, because next week we'll be focusing on Nick, but it's just that time of year.
There's
So
a-
that was my big thing, was to get that going.
There's a non-permitted driveway on Class 6 Adelbolden,
Okay,
near the intersection of Class 6 Deuces, that we notified them that,
Mm,
yes,
and that's not looking so good over there right now.
okay,
And
yeah, so we might need to get in touch with, the builder,
to fail,
who's the owner?
to fail.
yes.
I just had the thought of whether we wanted our attorney to get involved at some point with a notification on this, because, or do you think one more courtesy letter from us? But it's been a long time, we haven't heard anything.
And it was, well, it was last fall, so we could certainly give them a reminder, especially now that the road ban's coming up.
Yeah, that we're still
So
waiting.
construction can start going places, and trucks can start going places. You know, so we might just send them a quick reminder of,
please
hey,
send in your application.
you know, we gotta get this information and we gotta get this moving. And then, yes, I would definitely agree that if we don't have a response from him in a timely manner, which I would say a couple of weeks, that we would send it to legal for review.
So I'm thinking, if we drafted something, we're trying to keep next week's meeting to a minimum with, so it'd be a couple weeks before we actually sign unless we do something else. Now, we're gonna extend today's meeting into a public session tomorrow that goes to Grissom. If we have a draft, maybe we could agree to sign it tomorrow?
Yeah, we could.
So let's try to do that. See, we'll try to have a draft if we can get it done in time for us to sign before we send Woodard on his merry way.
So, that particular construction company has not put in an application for a driveway permit yet,
Correct.
Even though he's created one.
Cleared the lot and
Right.
created
Right.
access, yes.
And I do recall he told us the reason was because he was still waiting for
Surveyor.
boundary, surveyor
Yes,
lines. But
that's right.
Yeah, which is backwards, because you're supposed to have that before
Okay.
you clear the
So
lot.
that's irrelevant for us. We don't care. That's your problem, not ours.
Right.
So it's just a simple letter that,
Well, we're
something like,
asking him to
before you can
please
proceed
respond.
any further work, you need to put in a driveway permit
And-
application.
Effectively, Adelbolden is closed by that owner. I think I asked you last year whether you would drive your truck through there, and you said yes. I think if you looked at it now,
I haven't been up there in a while, so.
you might not say yes.
Really?
Anyway, enough time on that?
Yep. Yep, and that was my,
Okay. That's it?
Mm.
Okay.
You all done then? Is your- Okay, so, correspondence. EPOA annual meeting. They requested that the commissioners come to their meeting on a Saturday at the end of May, usually during the Memorial Weekend.
yep,
24th, I think I remember.
Yep, 24th.
So I'll make a motion that we notify the EPOA that we accept their invitation, we plan on being there.
second,
Aye.
aye,
3-0. And last year's format worked pretty well,
it did,
so as we get closer, we'll talk about that, but I think we'll do the same kind of thing, time allotments that we did last year. They don't want us to take up the whole meeting.
No.
They have stuff they have to get done,
What did,
so.
what did they wanted, they only like gave us what, 30 minutes last year, 20 minutes? I don't remember.
I think it ran a little longer than what they wanted to. Because they had a good crowd there last year.
Yeah, but that was their business, as far as the commissioners were concerned, addressing the crowd was we were given I think 30 minutes at most,
Yep.
if I recall correctly.
Yep. Okay, so, correspondence about the kayak reservations. Jennifer's been getting the annual calls where people don't read the website that says, the ordinance is on there that says April 15th is when the portal opens.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding is that it's set up that it opens automatically, but every year there's people calling saying they can't log in
Yep.
and so forth. And
Mhm.
Jennifer's already communicated with Andrew about this, and so she's got him aware that April 15th is here today, that
Yep.
people should start being able to reserve kayak spaces. Anything else you wanted to talk about
No,
with that?
just hoping to hear back from him so I can,
So soon we'll hear whether it works or whether people are just calling that they can't log in because of something they're doing.
yeah, which is
Similar to our
most
email
of the
problem.
cases.
Yeah.
No public appearances, no non-agenda items, so we're at the point that we'll vote to recess this meeting and reconvene tomorrow at 9 AM on Grissom Road. So I'll make that motion, is that we recess the meeting at 9:58.
Yep,
Needs a second.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Carol.